Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, for decades, global maritime trade has danced to a very specific rhythm, right? It heavily favors established hubs, completely bypassing one of the world's largest economies in the process. But today, we're unpacking the hard data behind India's Galathea Bay project. We're going to see exactly how this one massive infrastructure move is poised to completely rewrite those rules and shake up international geopolitics. So let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. $200 to $220 million. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering amount of annual revenue India is literally bleeding out to foreign transshipment ports every single year. Because India historically just hasn't had the right deep-water infrastructure, it's essentially paying a massive penalty just to participate in global trade. Money that should absolutely be captured domestically is instead flowing right into the pockets of neighboring nations. To put that into perspective, we are talking about roughly 3 million TEU of Indian cargo that has to be handled somewhere else. A massive chunk, like 45% of it, goes straight to Colombo in Sri Lanka. Then you've got another 22% routing through Singapore and 18% over to Port Klang in Malaysia. India is incredibly reliant on these foreign hubs just to get its own goods out to the world, or to bring international goods in. It's wild. Section 1. India's multi-million-dollar leak, the hidden costs of shallow waters. Now, the crucial point to understand here is that it isn't just about lost port fees. It's a compounding daily penalty. Beyond those 3 million TEU of diverted cargo we just talked about, there's a direct hit to the GDP, estimated between 1,500 and 4,500 crore rupees annually. Imagine being an Indian business, right? You're paying an extra $80 to $100 per container just in handling costs to foreign operators. Add in the loss of high-skill maritime jobs and foreign exchange reserves, and well, it's just a massive economic drain.
So why is this happening? Well, it honestly comes down to a stark physical reality. Most current Indian ports have a draft of only 8 to 12 meters. But modern megaships, the actual giants of global logistics, they need depths of 20 meters or more. The math is pretty brutal. Actually, scratch that. It's not even math, it's physics. These massive vessels physically cannot dock in India's shallow ports. They are literally forced to bypass the country entirely.
Section 2. The strategic dilemma, dependency, and the Malacca choke point. These physical limitations create a highly fragile reality. Roughly 40% of all global maritime trade passes through the Malacca Strait, yet India has zero strategic port presence at this critical choke point. Plus, think back to the 2022 Sri Lanka economic crisis. That really exposed the extreme danger of outsourcing 60% of your national transshipment to Colombo. It's a massive strategic risk. And that's further compounded by missing out on cargo from Bangladesh, Myanmar, and East Africa, not to mention the inability to commercially exploit 30% of India's own exclusive economic zone. So, faced with all of this, severe economic leakage, shallow ports, completely vulnerable supply chains, we arrive at the pivotal question. How exactly does India reclaim its position in the Indian Ocean? Section 3. Galathea Bay, the mega solution, building the international container transshipment port. And it all starts with this single magical number, 20 meters plus. This is the natural deep water draft of Galathea Bay. This one geographical miracle is what makes the whole shebang possible. Nature essentially provided the exact depth required by the world's absolute largest container ships, totally eliminating the physical barrier that's held India back for decades. By leveraging that 20-meter-plus natural draft, the potential here is just staggering. We are looking at a total project investment of 81,000 crore rupees. Huge, right? But the return is a planned container capacity of 14.2 million TEU, aiming for a projected annual revenue of $3.16 billion by the year 2040. This is massive capital deployment strategically designed to capture billions in future global trade. Section 4. Building the Future Hub, a multi-decade timeline. Now, an infrastructure project of this magnitude certainly doesn't happen overnight. It's broken into 3 massive phases. Phase 1 runs from 2025 to 2035, covering 72 square kilometers, with the port core, an airport, and a power plant. And notice the highly aggressive target here, a 2028 first commission meant to start capturing that trade immediately. Phase 2 then adds township expansion, and Phase 3 takes us out to 2047, finalizing a full-scale, robust industrial and trade ecosystem. Section 5. The geopolitical chessboard, strategic benefits beyond revenue. So while the economic numbers are huge, the geopolitical shifts might actually be even larger. Galathea Bay acts essentially as a multi-tool for India on the global stage. It becomes the physical anchor for the Act East policy. It enforces and commercializes 300,000 square kilometers of exclusive economic zone. It opens the door to incredibly lucrative deep-sea mining royalties, promotes the blue economy, and, crucially, it breaks Singapore's long-standing monopoly on Indian transshipment cargo. And looking purely at the facts of regional security, the implications are equally profound. The exact location of this port naturally allows for the projection of naval power right next to that critical Malacca Strait we mentioned earlier. It provides a key vantage point to monitor shipping across the Indian Ocean region, acts as a vital logistics hub for allied nations in BIMSTEC and the Quad, and inherently serves as a counterbalance to established maritime strategies in the region, such as the String of Pearls. Which brings us right back to this vital point from our source analysis. Without Great Nicobar, India has zero presence at this choke point. The geography absolutely dictates the strategy. By finally utilizing this very specific location, India firmly inserts itself directly into the beating heart of global maritime traffic. So, synthesizing all of this, the ultimate takeaway is incredibly clear. Galathea Bay is designed to transform India from a reliant bystander into a central maritime powerhouse. It takes a hugely costly, 8-meter shallow water problem that was draining the economy and completely converts it into a multi-billion-dollar deep water shield. The problem and the solution perfectly mirror each other. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to consider as we wrap up this explainer. When a single port project, driven by a natural 20-meter draft and massive multi-billion-dollar investments, can entirely shift the balance of economic and strategic power in the Indian Ocean, who truly controls the future of global trade? It's a massive geopolitical shift unfolding right before our eyes, and the ripples are going to be felt worldwide for sure. Thanks so much for learning with me today.